Thank you very much for that analysis, Ithaca. So the match is about to be underway. Both teams, as he stated, have walked in at 50 kilometers, and they're both on the opposite side of the beacons. They're effectively 100 kilometers away from each other. And as discussed a couple of minutes ago, they both have kiting comps, so they should be able to start applying their damage to each other fairly soon after the match starts. Wait, have we got a countdown? Oh, 15 seconds until the match starts, so should be underway very shortly.
Yeah, the teams are just about to kick off the match here. I'm feeling that Only Point's going to be very happy with these warp-ins. They're going to be 100 kilometers away from their opponents. The railguns and the beams down from their DPS ships will be able to hit quite far. As soon as they can lock something, they'll be able to apply damage. Whereas that Scorpion, I think, probably wants to be a little bit closer with this optimal range of its jammers not being at that range. Anyway, however. Yeah, the match is underway now, and we see Nameless coming in a little bit, a Hurricane moving forwards, maybe to attract some fire, I'm not sure.
I'd personally be a little bit worried if I was this Nameless side, because their team seems to be lacking quite a lot of DPS compared to the other side, although as I say that, they initially alpha away the shield of Scavenger and the Rifter. Of course, he's armor tanks, that may not be a big deal.
He's getting hammered pretty hard. He is armor tanked, and he's tanking quite nicely at the moment. The Execra easily be able to keep him up under the fire. Probably mostly the fire coming from the Hurricane and the Caracal at this point, although Tower can hit pretty far as well. So yeah, just the teams kind of positioning here, creeping up on each other very slowly. Curiously, the Rifter there just kind of poking his nose out ahead of the rest of the team for Only Points, but they seem quite happy just to sit back and fire away. The Rift is still taking damage here, but the Execra is easily able to keep him up.
Yeah, both teams seem to be just sort of scoping each other out right now, although I'm not sure how much the Nameless squad will be helped by burning in, because, I mean, with committing the battleship slot to the Scorpion, they're only getting 500 DPS from that compared to the 900 from the Brick Abaddon, so even if they were to focus the Abaddon without Execra reps, it would take them probably 10 minutes or so to kill it. I mean, that's a bit of an exaggeration, but it's not the highest DPS comp that we've ever seen.
I am reminded that the Scorpion does have a micro jump drive. Do you think he should use it to just get right in amongst the enemy team there and just start applying those jams to break those Execra reps, or do you think he's right just to slowly approach here with the rest of his team?
I personally think that would be an absolutely terrible idea and would single-handedly lose his team the match. And now the Coercer of Only Points is going down into low hull, although he has been caught just about by Yash Pegica, but if they switch to him again, he may be able to be alpha down. But yeah, the Scorpion jumping in, I think the Only Points squad had quickly realised what he'd done and just instantly pop him, and of course the Kirin being logistics frigate, very short rep range, so he's not going to be able to keep him up for very long at all if he does that.
No, it's great to see T2 Logi, Shield Logi here. I don't think we saw them as commonly as the Armor Logi in the Cup. It's great to see them being used here quite effectively. Combined, like the combined alpha from that Hurricane and the Caracal, the front-loaded DPS from the Caracal and the artillery from the Hurricane are giving the Execra. They're making him work to keep his support alive. The Rifter in low armor now. He's repping both the Coercer and the Rifter to keep them alive. That very focused damage there coming in from the Nameless team, making him sweat a little bit. And I'm starting to think here that possibly Only Points are just kind of a bit unsure as to what to do there, how to approach this. The Scorpion is very close to the action now.
Yeah, they do seem to be stagnating in this fight a little bit. There's not really much going on. They're still just sort of scoping Nameless out, not really, as you said, not really sure where to approach this squad. If I was them, I think I'd probably give a shot at shooting the Kirin, see how it holds up, because obviously it's going to be only held up by rep bots, which there aren't going to be a huge amount of from a Talwar and a Hurricane and a Scorpion, so probably worth giving it a shot. But again, it is a frigate, so it may speed tank reasonably well. It's not going to be tackled at this point, as it's right at the back of the fight.
Yeah, forgive me, I mixed the team names up there. It is Nameless who are approaching now and getting up all in Only Points' faces. Only Points just hang back. The Execra there seems like possibly in full off. It's hard to tell exactly the range from the commentator's point of view. It does look like he's in just optimal range of being able to rep his ships. The Coercer in low armor there, still taking fire from this Hurricane and Caracal combination, which is quite powerful. The Scorpion getting up in the face now of the enemy team, maybe trying to draw out that tackle there as the Rifter dashes forward, possibly to try and swing round to the flank of Nameless and see what you can pin down. No, he's pulling back again.
You really have to think that Only Points have to do something pretty quickly, or else at one point this Scorpion's going to get a jam cycle on that Execra and the Coercer will be just gone.
Yeah, the Executor does seem at maximum rep range here, just trying to keep away from those jams for as long as possible. The Kieran there moving off to the side. I really like the positioning of the Nameless team. They seem really tight. They seem not too scared to get close to the enemy, and they're pushing up in front of him.
The Rifter of Scavenger goes down. He tried to burn in, make something happen, but yeah, like you said, very compact lineup of the Nameless squad. Just take him out instantly as he's got out of range of the Execra. And they finally decided to put some damage on the Scorpion after the Rifter goes down. So we'll see how that progresses. See if they'll be able to leave any lasting damage on him.
The Scorpion is armored buffer, and he is taking quite a lot of damage now. The Kieran's trying to keep him up, but it doesn't look like it's working particularly well. So it might be here, though, that Nameless are under a little bit of stress as their Scorpion dips into about 6% armor, and the Kieran's not going to be able to keep him up. So they need to get one of these DPS ships down, otherwise that Scorpion is definitely going to die, unless they just get really lucky jams on those bigger ships. Coercer here does look like he's going down, possibly another jam on the Executor here. He's low armor. No, that he's still catching reps. It's very close. 5 minutes into the match. At the moment, only 1 point scored, and it looks like only points are only 1 point behind.
Yeah, this Coercer is still yo-yoing in armor, and this Scorpion, like you said, is still slowly being whittled down. And of course, 5 points to the 1 point of the Rifter that they lost is it's going to be a win for only points if they can keep it up. So I think the battle's now switched, and Nameless have to decide on something new and quickly make a decision and commit to it, because otherwise this Scorpion's going to go down. There's not going to be much coming back, I think, after that happens.
Yeah, Nameless under a lot of pressure now as their Scorpion's slowly dropping. They need to capitalise on jams of that Scorpion before he goes down. They need to be able to jam off the Executor and pin something down, I think. And they have. It looks like they're going for the Executor itself. They're swinging around the Caracal of Ivy there, swinging around to the back, and Hurricane both getting an optimal range of the Executor. The Hurricane, though, looks like he may have been tackled as he passed the Baden there to try and get into range of the Executor. No, he looks like he's still moving around. The Executor taking a lot of fire now. I think this would be an interesting trade now. The Executor for Scorpion. Where would you put the teams at if both of these ships go down? Looks like they're going down at a similar time.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting end a couple of minutes for the battle, because the Scorpion is receiving reps from the Kieran, but yeah, he is going down into hull. But of course, killing this Executor isn't going to take any damage off him. But now with one Logi ship to without a Logi ship, of course, in the Alliance tournament, that's traditionally pretty hefty loss for one team, but in this 5v5 tournament with an Abaddon and a Brutix, quite a lot of DPS left there against a battle cruiser and the smaller ships of the Nameless squad. So I don't know if they'll be able to hold up under concentrated fire, or Kieran did keep them up.
I think they are able to hold. It looks like the Brutix and the Abaddon don't seem to be applying damage to the Scorpion. Whether or not they switch there to the tower taking damage, the Scorpion just did manage to get backwards for 50% shield, but he has been blown away again. So it looked like there was a jam there that just paused the DPS on the Scorpion, which put the only points team a little bit further behind. But the Scorpion is about to die. It's going to have to dive spoon.
But the Coercer now just about goes down as well, so now it's just a DPS race pretty much between can this Abaddon and Brutix kill, well, anything under the reps of the Kieran. I'd imagine that they can, but it depends how much they can kill in points values.
I think with the right range and the right angle, they can certainly kill the Hurricane and the Caracal under the reps of the Kieran, definitely. They're not particularly tanky ships. They're pretty easy to hit, so the Micro-Warp Drive, the Battle Cruiser Hurricane is obviously quite large signature radius, easy to hit for those railguns and beam lasers. Although I don't think the Abaddon's going to hit anything else because of the slow tracking of his guns. The Brutix taking a real pounding now. He looks like he's in trouble. He is up in amongst the team there, trying to apply damage to that Caracal, but I don't think he's going to get the Caracal down before he dies himself, which is going to put that Abaddon in a real tricky situation and very far behind, I think.
Yeah, I think losing the Rifter and the Dragoon has quite significantly hampered that only point squad, as they haven't got any tackle for their long range guns on the Abaddon and the Brutix, and they're not going to be applying their massive DPS. Well, I say massive, their ranged weapons, but they're significantly more than what the Nameless squad has left on field, but they're just flying around, they're just kiting it, out-tracking it, and tanking it with the Kieran.
The Brutix has got some heavy armor and medium armor maintenance bots on it, probably from the Abaddon. Well, it must be from the Abaddon now. Just keeping it alive a little bit. I don't know how it isn't dead yet. Possibly there's some burnt out weapons on the Nameless side, I'm not sure. Or they're just slowly controlling the DPS and making sure they don't lose this Caracal. The Caracal is low shield. Now, if the Caracal goes down, I think this could be interesting, but I don't think it's going to go down before the Brutix does, and the Abaddon's really going to struggle. The Abaddon's really going to struggle to kill that Caracal on its own now. He's going to really struggle to kill that Caracal. I think if the Caracal pilots well, he should be able to get under the abandoned guns for the rest of the match, and that should mean, with only 30 seconds on the clock here, I can't see how only points can turn this around.
Yeah, it was an interesting outcome. I wasn't sure which way it was going to go at the start of the match, but it looks like the only points, just after losing that rift, they just weren't able to apply their DPS, and the Scorpion's jams combined with their lower DPS, but it was able to whittle down the Executor and then just break the rest of it.
Yes, good piloting by the Caracal there of IV, just to stay alive and keep applying DPS, and not stress too much about those big guns shooting you. You did really well there, I think, piloting. I think both teams flew brilliantly, and like you said, it was a knife edge for about a good 8 minutes of the match, which is great. I think with that, the match is finished. Only points taking clear. Nameless taking clear victory there. We'll hand it back to the studio.
Hey guys, welcome back. That is Nameless taking that one 6 points to 5 in our closest match yet, and our first match not to go to final domination victory. So pretty good match overall there. Bay, as I just said, this match finished 6 points to 5. Can you just quickly run down how the point system works in terms of ships in this format?
Yeah, sure. So it's quite simple. You score points for the type of ship you kill in a match. The largest ship is battleship, and that's worth 5 points. Battlecruiser is worth 4 points. Cruiser is worth 3 points. Destroyer is worth 2, and the frigate's worth 1. So victory conditions are simply that you have to score more points than the other team. It's been quite good, really. It's touch wood, we haven't actually had a draw, I don't think, yet. It always seems to be that one team does take the edge, but these points kind of follow through, and they do decide the placings of the teams in the league if they are tied on league points. So they are important. It is important to keep the number of points you're getting in the matches up as the season goes along.
I'm being told it was actually 5 points to 10 after that Brutix died, but the winner's still the same there. Now, it looked to me that the hero of that match there for a long time for the only points side was the pilot Yash Pajika. Probably butchering that name, but he was the Executor pilot, and he was just doing an absolute hero's job keeping the Rifter and the Coercer alive for just such a long time, especially with that Scorpion almost certainly going to be primarying him for the jam cycle. Basilisk, what did you make of the Executor pilot in there for the only points team? Looked like he was just doing a stellar job keeping up those two ships for a very long time.
Yeah, it was really solid work from him. I thought at the start that they were sort of stagnating and not really doing very much to win the match, but yeah, he was doing a really good job at just keeping his team in it, allowing the rest of the members of his team to just sort of probe out the weaknesses of Nameless squad, see where they're going to be able to break them, see who they can hold, who they can't, and yeah, just keeping his team repped up and healthy and giving them the time to explore the battlefield and explore who they can exploit.
Yeah, one of the issues with the Nameless comp there was they really had to rely on the jams to land. They have a Caracal, which is of course burst DPS during its rapid light reload. It has a lot of DPS, but as soon as it hits reload, that is no damage for 35 seconds. The Talwar, I mean, it's a Talwar. What else is there to say? The Hurricane was probably the bulk damage dealer right there. It is RT Hurricane, so sitting at range, doing pretty heavy damage. But of course, if it gets caught, it dies pretty quickly. And then the Scorpion, it's not primarily a damage ship. It's only about 450 or so DPS with cruise missiles compared to some of the other ships like the Abaddon doing almost 1,000. So that Nameless team, very low on DPS. I don't think the Executor had any jams, had no jams landed, should I say. I think the Executor would have no trouble tanking the entire Nameless team's damage. But when a jam lands, it can be critical. You've got 20 seconds to really just take advantage of that jam landing if it's on the Executor. And I think that's what we saw about 6 minutes into that match. We saw suddenly the Rifter die, followed very shortly by the Coercer. And it looked to me that that was maybe 1 or 2 jam cycles landing on that Executor, just stopping those reps just momentarily. The Nameless team maybe holding on to their Caracal reload clips, just holding it, waiting for a jam to land. That's the smart thing to do, would be to not fire until your Scorpion tells you that the Executor is jammed, and then suddenly you overload and you burst damage down whatever you're killing and break it. So a very exciting match overall, but let us move on to the next one. And this one I'm looking forward to. I've been looking forward to this since I saw it on the schedule. This is the Charlatans versus the Clever Girls, 2 of our returning teams from last year. The Clever Girls here, of course, boundary violating earlier on today, with that Typhoon sailing out past the 125-kilometer boundary to be exploded by the tournament tool itself. They're going to be wanting to come in now and gain back some honor and some points. The Charlatans are going to be riding high with that dominating victory. So we have one team dominating and one team dominated. Both returning teams, both not new to this at all. So they are going to be ready to go. They're going to know each other. They've played each other multiple times. So this is going to be, in my opinion, probably one of the most competitive matches so far. Now let's pull the picks and bans up and let's throw it to Mr. BayRJ and the Basilisk to just break it down for us and tell us what's happening here. Bay, what do you make of the Charlatans picks and bans?
Yeah, I've also been looking forward to this matchup. These 2 teams have been with us since Fight Club, I think. No, sorry, Charlatans weren't, but they've definitely both teams have been really keen about the champion so far, and they're kind of rivals, I think. So it should be a good show. Charlatans have banned out Armageddon, Dominix, and Hurricane, and they've bought an all-shield setup: Scalpel Tower, Caracal, Ferox, and Tempest. So yeah, this should be. It's a pretty solid all-round setup. Interesting, they've gone to Scalpel, the Shield Logi Frig pick again. I think they went for the Thalia last time, so they're liking the Shield, the Logistics frigates rather, and I'm liking them for liking them too.
And Basilisk, what do you make of the Clever Girls team here? I noticed they're picking up that Scorpion, which we just seen. Do you think that's going to be an important pick for them, or do you think maybe they should have gone for something a bit more traditional?
I think the Scorpion pick can work out. It depends on how the enemy plays it and what the enemy brings. I would note that they've banned the Griffin and the Blackbirds. They've said they don't want to face ECM. If they want to fight against an ECM squad, the enemy are going to have to bring a Scorpion as well. And they may think that they can sort of navigate that mirror matchup of both teams bringing a Scorpion better than the enemy squad. So they've opted for the Tech 1 Logistics in the Execro instead of the Scalpel. I think that's quite a good choice. I think the Execro is traditionally always a very strong ship. In tournament settings, it's quite self-sufficient as a logistics. It's always quite powerful.
Yeah, just one thing quickly to note there for anyone who's new to watching our tournament setup is that when one team picks a ship, for example, the Scorpion, it means that is no longer available for the other team.
My mistake.
Yeah, if, for example, Clever Girls pick the Punisher, it means the Charlatans can't pick the Punisher. That ship, it basically guarantees that only one of every type of ship will be available on the field at any one time. If you do see some odd picks where you think, well, hang on, they've taken the Hyperion, why doesn't the other team take the Hyperion? That is why. You're only allowed one of every type of ship, so one Scorpion. Now, one thing to note here is the way the banning order goes for blue and red is that Clever Girls got that Prophecy pick, followed by the Charlatans picking up that Ferox Tempest. Then Clever Girls picked the Scorpion. So perhaps they looked at the Harbinger, which has those info links. But if you pick that Harbinger up as your blue battlecruiser pick, you're maybe telegraphing to the red team, oh, hang on, they might be taking this Scorpion. So now we have to think about that, and you might end up convincing the red team to pick the Scorpion instead, simply to stop you having it if you think they're weak to it. The mind games in this involving the banning, it's so easy to get yourself just stuck in a loop and out-meta yourself and end up with some absolute garbage comp because you thought you were trying to outdo your opponent's mind, and in fact you've just been double rused and you are done. So the teams are in the arena, so I'm going to hand it over to the arena with your commentators, Mr. BayRJ and the Basilisk.